I would like to share with you 3 stories from my life about how I discovered my femininity. And these are stories of 3 aspects of femininity that, in my opinion, make it whole. Story number 1, identity. The path towards discovering your own femininity can be really complicated. And I know something about this because I took this path without the most important teacher, my mother. I grew up with my sister under my father's wings, who is not only a former military man, but also a scientist. So, as you can imagine, discipline is my second name. My father trained me to be a real warrior, and every day was like a survival camp. In my break, I was doing push-ups. In my dreams, I was solving math problems and dreaming about ferrofluids and fractals. I can pack my luggage or take a shower in a few minutes because I was trained by him to do so. But how I wanted to do things was slightly different. I was like a wild animal that liked to walk its own way. The wind was combing my hair. The sounds of nature were my music. I danced barefoot within the forest and climbed trees, imitating the movements of a cat. And when I was laughing, the whole world was laughing with me. And when I cried, it started to rain. Yes, my father gave me many wise lessons, but there's one lesson he couldn't teach me. He couldn't teach me femininity. I had to do that homework on my own. That's why I asked a lot of questions. I learned a lot from other women to understand what femininity is. And during my travels around the world, I have met incredibly wise teachers. They are Highlanders, shamans, children of the stars. They are indigenous people. What I have learned about femininity from tribal women is that they are in constant contact with art. They are masters in celebrating their roots that reach all the way down to the roots of humanity. Their fashion carries symbolic meanings reflecting their identity and their genes and the rivers of the underworld of humankind. Using different patterns and colors, they emphasize what is important for themselves. For Wayu women, weaving is the way to tell their stories and describe their dreams. Hmong women will design a combination of symbols that they want to attract into their life. So, creating and surrounding themselves with beauty is inscribed in their feminine nature. Say hello to my wonderful Atayam from the Apatani tribe. Meeting her and other tribes resulted in a very wise lesson. Our sense of beauty that surrounds us is one of our superpowers. And you can use this superpower to build your identity and to heal your past. Story number 2, body. As a teenager, of course I was looking for a confirmation of my own beauty. And it was a time when I found out that the world had selected some canons of beauty, and this is how female value is measured. My need to prove myself that I was beautiful led me to a modeling agency. And it was a very difficult time for me because back then, requirements for the figure were very unhealthy. Unfortunately, I followed these rules because I didn't have enough strength to stay true to myself. I was under the impression that Mother Nature created me against all the canons of beauty. I didn't like the shape of my cheeks. My thighs were too big. I was pretty sure that my hips were too wide. By the way, a few years later, during tribal dance fusion classes, I found that I had no contact with my hips. At the worst moment of the time, I weighed 48 kilograms, being almost 180 centimeters tall. But I'm glad that at some point I came to my senses, because keeping such a fragile and hunched figure would make me look like Quasimodo today. I realized that when you don't accept your body, you send this message to the world. And that lesson showed me how important it is to be in contact with your body and make the best of it. As you probably guessed, I did not conquer the fashion world. As a model, I received some recognition only 12 years later, when I finally loved my body and my additional 15 kilograms. But the part of this success was also finding my sense of beauty. And it happened when I stopped following beauty canons and when I asked myself what I really liked. Story number 3, emotions. I also try to approach the topic of femininity from the spiritual side. And I basically tried almost everything. Courses on waking the inner goddess, visiting shamans, running barefoot in the woods to feel the energy of Mother Earth. And these treatments gave me a lot of fun and made me feel more relaxed and more aware. But I needed something slightly deeper than hugging trees and singing mantras. As a psychology student, I was aware of the benefits of the therapeutic process, which is why I started sessions under the guidance of a psychoanalyst. And these meetings allowed me to immerse myself in the world of my dreams, fantasies, feelings, and symbols. I realized that I lost connection with my wild nature for many years. I forgot about the little girl inside me that likes to walk her own way. And to better understand who this girl was, I started reading about feminine archetypes. And I learned about the existence of a wild woman. A woman who helps us penetrate the deepest secrets of female nature. A woman who is feelings and drive. She's our grown-up inner child and the sorceress of the kingdom of our instincts. She's our inner wise guardian who leads, teaches listening to intuition and living in harmony with our needs. When we lose contact with her, our femininity cannot fully develop. We feel cut off from the primary source, and over years we observe how our natural instincts are increasingly suppressed. When we lose contact with her, we feel depressed. Our vitality deteriorates. We lack inspiration and creative energy. We live in constant tension and a mood swing. We are in relationships that destroy us. A woman who is in contact with herself is like a wild animal, robust, aware of her territory. She's strong and resistant. She can perfectly adapt to constantly changing conditions. Women who are in contact with her, they want to stay with her forever because their creative life is booming thanks to her. I was so pleased with the existence of the wild woman that I seal this moment with this picture. And it reminds me of the lesson I learned. In order to meet your wild woman, you have to be aware of your feelings. And your feelings will help you to find your wild nature. My wild woman came to me in the most unexpected place. She didn't arrive on the unicorn. She didn't appear like a goddess emerging from the sea waves. She chose a fairly rough ground in which discipline counts. She was with me on the mat while training martial arts. She helped me move my hips while dancing tribal fusion and whispered in my ear, "You are strong," when I was packing 100 kilograms on the barbell. My master, who helped me to connect all my previous experiences and take care of my identity, my body, and my emotions, is sport. And sports also helped me to find the names for the attributes of my femininity. This is a space where I can develop my discipline and my sense of aesthetics. This is my DNA and my family story. But if I hadn't understood my emotions, if I hadn't listened to my body, I would have been like a machine today. But I decided to look at my passion of sports in a very feminine way. That's why I call my identity tribal woman. Because just like the tribal woman, I use aesthetics to take care of my identity. I convert my discipline into aesthetics through sports. And sport teaches me the perfect proportions, not only the body, but also on the plate or even in the closet or calendar. And it starts very innocently, by changing some foods, buying new shoes. But if you trust it completely, you will see that it is a metamorphosis of your whole life. Focusing on the work of our muscles, we begin to get to know our body. We learn about its possibilities, limitations, and our needs. I learned to appreciate my body for vitality and perseverance, but also for appearance. Forgive me for letting you down, but accept your body tips won't work like a magic wand. Solid and consistent work on the body, yes. I call my body cheetah. Not a big puma, not a small cat. This is my inherited body shape. I'm fast and I'm toned, and what I like about myself, that I can move graceful like a cheetah. This is my body language. And sports, and especially tribal fusion dance, taught me that when you start to be in contact with your body, when you start to care for it, it begins to move differently. It is like a beautiful, restored temple that begins to come alive under the influence of lights. Training is also a permanent internal dialogue from which, just like in therapy, you can create a pattern of your behavior. Notice when you give up, what distracts you, what motivates you. I always say, the way you are in training, the way you are in life, this is the moment when you can set your own rules and develop your intuition. And there is no possibility that our internal voices will be suppressed. I call my emotions fire because my life is full of passion and full of intense feelings. And during training, I shut out the anger accumulated for years. I can throw out what disturbs me and draw handfuls of emotions that I desire. If it doesn't work for you, just increase the weight. These 3 stories show how important the integration between your identity, body, and emotions is, how important it is to take care of each of these elements and keep the balance between them. And this is how you can do it. First, your past may hold a pain, but you still have an influence on your future. Use aesthetics to tell the story about your identity. Be your own canon of beauty. What may seem like your biggest burden can become your strength. Shed light on the temple. Second, listen to your body as a powerful and sacred being. Find your favorite way to move your body. Ask yourself if your body prefers to swim, run, or dance. Ask your body what kind of healthy food and environment it needs, and make sure to provide it. Third, ask yourself, how do you feel? Every day we ask this question to others. Why not start with yourself? Your emotions are very important too. It is important with whom you feel your best self, and be aware how you feel in different situations versus how you want to feel. Maps of the journeys on the path to discover our identity and harmony with the soul are as complicated for men as they are for women. And even though I didn't elaborate on it today, I would like to add that it's equally important for men to make this effort too. The obstacles and the challenges are of different kind and of similar difficulties. But we are together in this challenge, and these maps at some point, they all meet somewhere. I would like to encourage women to find their own 3 attributes of their femininity. Don't stay in one place just because you are there. Start the journey. I'm a tribal woman. I'm a fire. I'm a cheetah. And who are you? Thank you.